get started, you'll need 2 split rings and one will need a clasp attached. So I've used a lobster clasp, but you could use any clasp that you preferred. So next you'll want your cord and you want to find the ends and match them up and then add your beads. But one thing you want to make sure of is that you want to have the correct number of beads to begin with, because once you've set everything up you can't add any more afterwards. So once you've added on the amount of beads that you want to take the end where it's doubled over and you want to insert this into one of the split rings. And then you want to pull the beaded end through the loop. And then you just want to gently pull that and tighten like that. And then you want to take the other split ring and you want to thread the ends through the ring. So you should have it like that. So next you want to measure out exactly how long you want your bracelet to be. So for this one I'm going for just over 6, so about 6 1/4. So I want mine to be there. So I want to just carefully pinch where I want that to measure, and then take the split ring and clip it to the top of the board, and then just putting the beaded end out of the way, and then you want to measure it against your board like this, and then you want to take a little bit of scrap cord and then you want to do the same thing as you did with this cord. So you want to thread it through your split ring and then pull the tail ends through the loop. And then you're going to clip this to the bottom of the board. Obviously if yours fits to the board you won't need to do this, but because my board is a little bit longer than I need something just to keep it in place while I'm doing my knotting. So once you've got everything secure you can begin your knotting. So to begin with I'm just going to do a few square knots before I start sliding the beads up. So you want to do your square knots as normal. And you can do as many as you want to begin with before you start adding the beads. I'm just going to have a little bit that hasn't got beads on just for the bottom so it's a bit more comfortable. So you just want to do your square knots going over, over and through. And then under, under and through until you want to start adding your first bead. So once you've done as many knots as you want at the beginning, you can push your bead up into place. You want to slide that up against the square knot you've just done and then just do a square knot to hold it in place. I'm going to do 2 square knots just to space them out a bit more, but you can do more or less depending on whatever pattern you want to make. So I've done my 2 square knots and then I'm going to push my next bead into place. And then again I'm just going to do 2 square knots to secure this and then slide up the next one. And then I'm going to keep doing this until I've done all the beads. So once you've pushed your last bead up into place, you can just continue doing square knots until you get to the end of your bracelet. So once you've knotted as far as you can, you should have your knots all the way up to your split ring, and then you just want to trim and seal any excess. So I'm going to use a lighter to seal, but you could use glue if you prefer. And you should end up with something that looks like this. And that is your completed macrame bracelet with clasp fastening.